Hey everybody, so I'm back with like a quick little video. I found this video on TikTok and it was talking about the masculine and the divine feminine and just the things that has happened in life, and I'm not going to even butcher it by trying to explain it. I just thought it was rather interesting and I wanted to share it. I had just finished shooting for my next video that should be out tomorrow. So I just took all my stuff off. I threw something on, and then I'm like, oh my god, I forgot to do this. So you don't get you got no earrings, no all sprucey, none of that. You just get this. So I'm not gonna get hit it with a close because it really is just a video I'm throwing out there. But until I see you guys in the next one, let's go ahead and watch this video. Let's go.
I want y'all to understand that when the Bible talks about the return of Christ, it is talking about the return of Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is the Kundalini energy that rises from your root chakra. When I talk about masculinity being an illusion because it holds the key, your physical experiences hold the key to your memories, the whole idea of masculinity, the whole idea of decentralization is the men are chaotic because that chaos is what fuels order. That chaos is what reminds her of her power. So when we look at Teyana Taylor's, and this is the beauty, and see y'all, that whole Tyler Perry hate is played. Y'all need to start understanding. Y'all need to start looking at the underlying teachings. Y'all need to start looking at it metaphysically because Tyler Perry is not showing us the struggling black woman. Tyler Perry is giving us the keys to the memory of our divine femininity. The reason why he paired Teyana Taylor and Taraji P. Henson in this movie, it is revealed in this performance. Because when you look at the beginning of it, the red that they are wearing, so we keep thinking it's demonic, but see, the etymology of the word demonic is genius. Genius is the gene of Isis, as in Genesis. So the deep sleep that is spoke about in that book, in the book of Genesis, Adam's deep sleep, Adam never woke up. And see, that is the purpose of the narcissistic system of the patriarchy, because men are here to serve a purpose, and that is to awaken the divine femininity. That is to reconnect women with the power that is their true source, that is held in the womb. The matrix, the etymology of the word matrix is womb. It is matrix. It is the mother's tricks. The matrix is the architecture of the universe, and the womb man is the true mason. So when we look at this performance, the red that they are wearing is symbolic to the blood. The blood on the physical realm is symbolic to the breath on the spiritual realm. The blood is to ego as breath is to spirit. So what is happening is she is being uprooted. The divine feminine has to be uprooted because us being so anchored to the third dimension by way of the deep sleep, the deep sleep of the atoms that is within our deoxyribonucleic acid that they told us was the rib of Adam that brought us Eve, is really just symbolic to the deep sleep that led to us being overthrown by the patriarchy. So we have to do what's called an uprooting, which is taking the seeds of the soil, the tainted soil, and you notice the umbrella. It is covering us from the taintedness that is coming from above. The illusions that cause the confusion that disconnects us from the source of who we truly are. So with that unearthing, with that uprooting, when I made that video saying that men cannot be healed, they have to be uprooted, that is because they are by their metaphysical anatomy anchored to the third dimension. That is why they don't understand what it means when we say that masculinity is an illusion, because masculinity is just the physical presence. The physical, anything that you see is not your reality. That does not mean it is not real, but that is not the true self. That is not true to who you are. So once we uproot that, by way of the chaos that is being ensued by the patriarchy, that is the narcissism that we are dealing with as women, that is causing us to decenter the paradigm and recenter us around our divine femininity. That is what's being represented by the red. That is the blood. Think of it as the blood cells, right? So once that is uprooted, This is where we get Lilith. This is why they demonize Lilith. This is why they demonize the angry black woman. Because in my video on angry black women being an illusion, that because that anger is what allows us to quantify our power on a quantum level and make shit happen and manifest in the physical dimension. The angry black woman is Lilith. Because Lilith was a rebel of the patriarchal system. That is why you don't know, the Christians don't know that is Adam's first wife. But see, Lilith could not be controlled. Lilith was a warrior of the divine feminine nature, which is the natural order of the universe, because energy is feminine, and feminine energy can project itself inwardly or outwardly. The outward projection of feminine energy is what gives us the masculine body or the physical body, which is what has been derived further into the third degree and gave us the male that we see today. This is the architecture of the patriarchy. This is the illusion that we are referring to. So the patriarchy created this concept of love, and they surrounded it. They used religion to surround it amongst relationships. They use religion to tell us that love has to be expressed through relationships. That is the furthest disconnect that you can have between the divine feminine and yourself, because the only love that exists is self-love. And that is what women are starting to wake up to. That is what the deep sleep, the awakening, that is what it is leading us to. So now once she experiences the narcissism, now remember, narcissism is the narc of Isis, the narc being the narcotic, which is the deep sleep of Adam, which is the deep sleep of our atoms. And as I break down, the atoms being sleep is just them being slowed down. To slow down your vibrations is to be low vibrational. So once you slow down to a certain point, it bursts the antimaterialic matter, which gives us religion, the patriarch, and everything of that nature. The things, the artificial political laws that are designed to keep the divine feminine in line. Line meaning bound, meaning unable to escape, meaning enslaved. So through her chaotic experiences, she is forced to awaken. Her awakening, the rage that Taraji is talking about in this part, that divine feminine rage is her Lilithian frequency. That is what restores natural order. So the masculine of today is tasked with creating this division within her so that she can remember that she is too far away from her center point, which is her. That is what makes and in honor of Father's Day, the father, as I say, is not the father. He is the farther. He takes you farther away from your point of connection from the source, which is her. So when Taraji, when the camera leaps up, and she said it starts as a spark. Now notice that she's holding flowers that are on fire. And this is symbolic to the uprising. This is symbolic to the Kundalini energy, the Christ consciousness that is rising through that divine feminine rage, that dark femininity that allows us to break free from the narcissistic system of patriarchy. So once that is done, if you look at the bottom of her gown, this is symbolic. The blood at the bottom is symbolic to the rebirth. The holes that are in the gown, you can think of it as breaking through the fabric of reality. The deveil. What we call a devil is deveil. It is when we deveil the descendant of Evil, Eve being the darkness, which is the womb, El being God in physical form. When you integrate the higher and the lower self, that is when you get to a point of Christ consciousness. That is when you break the boundaries, the confinements of hell and get to heaven. When the Bible talks about in Revelations bringing down a new heaven and a new earth, the new Jerusalem, the etymology of Jerusalem, when you break that word down, is a peace of mind. It is a place of peace. That is what happens to you mentally once you break free from the patriarchy. So this whole performance is symbolic to the return of the divine femininity, which is the great cosmic mother, which is Sophia, which is also Medea. Now go on, get out of here with that Tyler Perry hate. Y'all ain't deep enough for what Tyler Perry is really doing for y'all. What Tyler Perry is really doing for y'all, because the issue is that black women don't want to see themselves, because to see yourself, you have to be yourself. And to be yourself, you have to free yourself. And to free yourself, that means that you have to do the work.